as always, my fondest memories are connected to people, the people I met and the ideas that were challenging. You know, Hong Kong is an international hub, a city with tremendous pull and attraction for people from global leaders from the world. I mean, we were lucky to have Dr. David Ho as he was making his early forays into China on the subject of HIV/AIDS, and Nobel Prize winner Amartya Sen at the Hong Kong Center talking about welfare economics. And the amazing, amazing dance performance of Gu Wenda, the Chinese artist who did a performance that opened the contemporary exhibition that we brought to Hong Kong from Asia Society New York called Inside Out. These were remarkable memories. And I have to say, I was also committed to bringing Hong Kong students to Asia Society programs as we started to increase programming, thanks to many donors, some of them probably in your audience tonight. We were able to do that. And a standout was Sidney Rittenberg. Sidney Rittenberg, in his late 80s, the man who stayed in China, went to high schools in Hong Kong and wowed the young people. So many memories. I want to say 1998 that my predecessors had done a remarkable job. The Asia Society Hong Kong was clearly the leading forum for discussion and dialogue on all of the important issues of the time, particularly business, economics, politics, global relationships, where things were headed in the world. But I was also familiar with the Asia Society New York, and I dreamed about those programs, the exhibitions, the performances, the dancing, the presentation of food from all of the Asian countries. And in the back of my mind, I hoped that we could introduce that kind of programming into the Hong Kong Center. But you know, you can't just have dreams, you really do have to have plans. So the Asia Society had a remarkable advisory council, Dr. Q.W. Lee, John Strickland, Jack Chen, Martin Tang. So we got together and we took the vision and we put together a plan that would allow for increased programming in the remarkable physical site. That was an amazing time, and I will never, ever forget. At the end of the lunch in Ronnie's office, where Dr. Q.W. sat back, slammed his fist on Ronnie's lunch table to the shock of some, and said, "We must make this plan happen. We must make it happen." And I quite frankly remembered that as Dr. Q.W.'s command until the center opened. The whole process, right, from inception to conclusion, right, which I was actually not in Hong Kong for until the grand opening, but quite frankly, the whole process was quite complicated, and for good reason. It was complicated and it was rewarding. Hong Kong was in full bloom. They'd survived the Asian financial crisis. The Hang Seng was up. The arts were burgeoning. There was a lot of discussion about heritage projects in Hong Kong. And quite frankly, there were few heritage buildings left in Hong Kong, much less sites laden with snakes and fruit bats in abundant supply. But the timing was right. But you know, without the support of the Hong Kong government, numerous employees in the Lands Department and the Antiquities and Monuments Office, Hong Kong University professors and heritage committed people, the conservation movement, the environmental interest in Hong Kong, district council members, any number of people had to come together to make the project and the process happen. So I would have to say that before we even got to the architectural competition process, there was a tremendous amount of work done by many different aspects and members of Hong Kong society, which may be unsung, but is greatly appreciated by myself. And the financial support of the Jockey Club, of course, was critical, a critical success factor, even in the early stages of the project. The process itself, once we started, the idea was to use an old-timey words, a Six Sigma project, where we tried to do things the right way and by international standards. The architectural competition was run that way, as years earlier, Robert Miller had run a competition or had been interested in the competition that was run for the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. Was a standard in terms of how to look at projects and how to evaluate competitions. Those archives were open to us as we wrote the RFP to go out to the architects. And of course, we had two very important consultants who led that architectural competition. You know, the building and the site itself is a daily testament to the beauty and the intellectual underpinning of the design and implementation by Billy Chen and Todd Williams as to where the center is today, a learning center, constantly growing. That process, it took a long time, but I will have to say that I feel good about the contributions that everyone made, the professionalism of the team, the willingness to stick with it. Of course, there was the money, and that took a while, and I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful to everyone who contributed. I saw the Asia Society Hong Kong Center a number of times after we moved from Hong Kong, because we came back every year or so to visit with friends. So I saw it underway, and certainly was thrilling to be there for the opening. I worried about it through some of those preliminary visits when the banyan tree in front was looking a little sickly, when the plants wouldn't grow in the planters on the bridge, when the waterfall had yet to be tested. But truthfully, by the time it opened, you could already feel the magic. So today I think it's even much better because it's nestled in, it's at home in its own skin, it sits in a special place, but it is a magic place. First, I think that Thanksgiving is a perfect place to be for the center at the moment, thankful for the past, but also thankful for the people who are going to reach into the future with you to make the center even more successful. Because in today's world, connections, human connections, deeper understanding, a willingness to agree or to cordially disagree, but to work hard to understand the issues that are impacting our world today, our children's world. There are many, many things to be discussed that require collaboration and cooperation. And I can't say how strongly I feel that the arts, cultural programming, music, painting, games will play a role in young people's being awakened to some of these issues, and of course the discussion and dialogue. I think that connections have never been more important, and I think if I think about the Hong Kong Center, whether people are connected through technology or human interaction or all of the above, events, programming events, occasions that cause people of every age and every background to come together. That's what the Hong Kong Center will be. You know, I kind of believe that when you're looking far into the future, you can't necessarily have a plan, but you can certainly have a dream. And that's the way it was in 1998. And I believe that's where the Asia Society is today. Big dreams for the future that will require lots of people, lots of help, uh, lots of imaginative ideas. And I think the Asia Society Hong Kong Center has never been positioned better. It's a fabulous team. And congratulations and thanks to you and your team for everything that you do. Here's to the next 30 years.